or virtually. I'm Luke Jackson, Vice President of the School Board. President Heather Staggs is not in attendance. To my left is Dan Conway, Secretary, Jackie Deckard, Member, and Matt Hankins, Member. To my right is Superintendent Eric Bolin and Assistant Superintendent Susie Lips. If you would, please join me by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Proper decorum. Very important. Very important.
Okay, you have something to read there?
Yes. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Opportunity for public participation will be permitted in accordance with policy 0167.3. Courtney, do we have anyone who wishes to speak on any item of this? No? Okay.
Okay, we have, this is our budget hearing, special hearing that we have to do annually. And we have a guest speaker, guest presenter. Whitney Kuzma is our district treasurer. We are blessed and lucky to have Whitney working with us, taking care of our finance. And she's going to give an overview of the budget. And if there are any questions after she's done or while she's going through, she's willing to take those questions and do the best we can to get them addressed. Okay.
Perfect. Welcome to the hearing.
You might have to pull that up for yourself there, Whitney, because it's
Better?
difficult. Yeah. Can
Better?
you hear everything okay over in that, Courtney, for the audience out there in online land?
Presentation, please. All right. This is the 26th budget hearing. So we're going to do a brief mile high, 30,000 foot view, I guess I should say, of the 26th proposed budget. So the next slide, Courtney. That's all right. So we are, in broad terms, going to discuss the budget process as well as principles, the 26 budget estimates, and then kind of the next steps for the school district and the board after that. The budget cycle is 18 months in all. So essentially, we are reviewing the last 6 months of data, expenditures, and revenue. We are collecting data and collaborating with our with our admin teams and our directors and defining our needs for 2026. That is an ongoing process all of the time. And then we are projecting for calendar year 2026 revenue and expenses. So there's where we get that 18 months, the past 6 as well as the future 12. It's a fairly straightforward process. The budget hearing, which we are in attendance, the board adopting the budget will be next. That is October 9th. And then we will look for the state's approval sometime in December. And from now to then, they will be reviewing and modifying our budget as needed. And then they will issue us a 1782 notice by December 31st per statute. The budget process is very important. We are working to ensure our resources align with the community and academic priorities. So we set that high threshold for spending. We also look at the tax levies for the school funds and the subsequent tax rates. And then we receive the appropriations for the major operating and debt service funds for the school district. For the MSD of Martinsville, that's the education, operations, debt service, and occasionally rainy day funds. Some of the principles. So when we are budgeting, we estimate our expenses high. It's an 18-month cycle, like I said previously, so a lot can happen in that time frame. And so we don't know what we don't know. We like to try and predict as much as we can for inflation, any insurance increases, salaries, obviously facility needs, and then of course we tend to see utility increases as well. And then there's always the uncertainty with state mandates. Any changes in enrollment affects our budget, and then possible litigation as well. So all of those are expenses that are attempted to take into consideration when building our budget. On the adverse side, we like to project our revenue low. There are always changes to revenue streams, unfortunately. So, ADM is our biggest source of revenue, which is our enrollment number. That's calculated twice a year, February and October. It determines the majority of the funding for our education fund as well as some of our operations fund. The net assessed value and the levy set our annual tax rate, and fluctuations in our NAV affect circuit breaker losses, which affect operations fund revenue, and then debt issuance capacity as well. Miscellaneous revenue is kind of always a moving target. We can pretty well narrow down on interest revenue, some facility rental, non traditional revenue, and then we currently receive excise and vehicle and license excise tax from Morgan County as well, and local income tax as well. So the appropriated funds for the MSD of Martinsville are currently the education's operations and debt service funds. And so the education's fund is strictly instructional. It is all instructional expenses as well as teacher compensation. That funding is pretty much ADM. It is all of our enrollment. Enrollment fluctuates. We gain revenue or we lose revenue. There is minimal miscellaneous revenue included in that fund as well. Circuit breakers are not tied to the education fund because property taxes are not tied to the education fund. We have the operations fund. That is all school operational expenses. The revenue source for that fund is property taxes as well as transfers from our education fund. We set that amount based on need. We typically transfer anywhere from 12 to 14%. Per statute, that's capped at 15%. Um, Circuit breakers, due to circuit breaker losses, which is a county-wide calculation, we do experience minimal losses. That hits our operations fund. Debt service is our third fund. That fund is strictly for repayment of debt, whether GO bonds or lease rental. The main revenue source to that fund is property taxes. The flow of some of the fundings, we'll start with the education fund. Like I already said, it's strictly student enrollment based and therefore can fluctuate. The formula is set by the biennial state budget, which is set by the legislature. And we can transfer up to 15% if needed into the education fund, education to operations fund, And so then moving on to the operations fund, revenue could be transfers from ed to ops, but is typically operations levies are limited to the MLGQ, which is 4% for 2026. Property taxes cannot be shifted between funds. And so, again, operations, collections, or revenue is capped by circuit breakers and then strictly absorbed in the operations fund for the MSD of Martinsville. And then you'll see the property taxes are strictly in the debt service fund as well. So some of the actual numbers to our budget for 2026 proposed. The total budget, 58.8 million. You'll see we advertise that rate high. So please don't look at that number and think that's where we're going to end. We like to advertise that number high, knowing that there are changes at the DLGF that we can't control, but also changes to levy and NAV. So again, we advertise that high. We let them bring us down to where we need to be, because if we do it the opposite, we don't get to come up and we lose out on revenue. So you'll see that the education fund is approximately 57% of our budget at $33.6 million. The operations is approximately 28% at 16.3, and then the debt service 15% at 8.8. And again, that proposed or advertised rate is high. We are actually seeing that estimated rate for us will likely come in at about that 79-cent mark where we have been in years past. Some of the actual breakdown of how the education fund appropriations would be spent. Typically, like I said, education fund, salary and benefits. So you'll see the majority of that pie, salary and benefits. Minimal other instructional things, supplies, travel, PD, registration, those kind of things. And then the operations fund, any and all operational needs of the district. It does house some salaries and benefits for operational staff, and then pretty good chunks for utilities as well as contracted services. So again, our next steps, we'll do the hearing this evening, and then you guys will adopt, hopefully, the budget on October 9th. And then from October to December, DLGF will review and hopefully approve as submitted and issue that 1782 notice by December 31st. Any questions?
I think for public consumption, October 9th, the reason it's the 9th, remember the next week, which is normally our school board third Thursday, is during fall break. So that's why we'll be adopting on the 9th.
Thank you, Whitney. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Having no public comments, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn this special session budget hearing.
I'll make a motion, Luke, to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. We will now move into our regular session, September board meeting. Reminder, this is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school's district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Opportunities for public participation will be permitted in accordance with policy 0167.3. Courtney, do we have anyone? Nope. Having no one registered for comments over an agenda item, I will hand it over to Superintendent Bolin.
Okay, we have the consent agenda. I think actually you were supposed to cover the consent agenda for passing.
Okay, it says
He's
Eric.
new. He's filling in.
He's filling in. That's
Yeah,
okay.
it
It
says
does say,
Eric right
and
there.
it does say that in nice blue letters
Yes.
and bold. So just to pass it back to you, I'll say acting president.
Very well. Heather set me up on that one.
She did.
All right.
We'll blame it on her since she's not here. But she'll probably watch it on video and send us a text here shortly.
Yeah. Do I have a motion to pass the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Now I get to move on, don't I?
It's
Do you wanna do it?
still in blue, but I
Yes.
can do it if you want me to.
Okay, we do have a field trip here. The MHS cross country overnight in Evansville for the IHSA regionals, and I recommend approval.
Do I have a motion to approve the MHS cross country overnight?
I'll make a motion to approve the MHS cross-country overnight.
I'll second that. Luke.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next one is an orchestra overnight, November 7th and 8th. It's at Western Kentucky University. They're going to have violin, viola fest, and no district expenses will be used in this. I recommend approval.
Do I have a motion to approve the orchestra overnight?
I'll make a motion to approve the orchestra overnight.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I will start the curriculum report with a quick update on Well Wednesdays program for 2025. Well Wednesday stands for Weekly Engagement in Leading and Learning. Well Wednesdays provides teachers with time for collaboration with professional learning communities and with training and professional development that will positively impact student learning. The PLCs give teachers an opportunity to review student work and data, identify best practices, and learn new strategies to ensure students are on track to meet that goal. A sampling of Well Wednesday school activities for teachers include confidentiality training, goal reflection, test security and integrity training, de escalation strategies, and ALICE safety training. With, anti bullying, Artesians Choose Kindness campaign. With during October 2025, all schools in the Metropolitan School District of Martinsville will be participating in a district-wide anti-bullying campaign with the focus as Artesians Choose Kindness. The purpose of the campaign is to educate all students about the various forms of bullying and the steps students and staff can take to help stop bullying. The long term goal is to eliminate bullying from our schools and to better provide a learning environment where students respect and treat one another with more kindness. During the district's anti bullying Artesians Choose Kindness campaign, in October 2025, every school will use educational activities, projects, displays, announcements, special presentations, guest speakers, social media, and various curricular activities to help educate and inform our school community. And we will start with a rollout newsletter at the end of September, which will be next week. We'll be going home to families and staff. And during the anti bullying campaign, with kindness as our focus, all of the students will have an opportunity to sign an anti bullying contract. And that is something that the schools take very seriously and follow up on throughout the year. So that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you very much.
Mr. Boland?
Okay, the next item we have is the financial report that's been presented to you. It is report only, no action to be taken by the board, but we annually have to present that to the board in report format. The next item is a first read. No action to be taken tonight, but it is the first read for compensation for the school board. As you know, the General Assembly passed new guidelines and guidance for 10% of the lowest teacher pay scale. So that's what we recommend to follow is state guidance, and this will be voted on at the next meeting in second read. So that's all we have there on the reports.
Okay, thank you. Old business?
Old business, we want to invite everyone to our groundbreaking for the new elementary. It's going to take place next Wednesday. That's the 24th at 5 p.m. The Church River Valley's been gracious to allow us to park at the parking lot there, and we have a couple of shuttle buses from the transportation that will bring people just around the corner. We don't want people having to walk along the side of the road, walk along the ditch, and it might be rainy, so we'll see. Only sunny and 72, always sunny and 72, but we'll provide the transportation to get there because there's not a lot of parking on the construction site. And then we'll have a few words from a few individuals and have the groundbreaking at that point. An exciting time for the district. And while we're on the old business, I wanted to reiterate, we've talked about this for what, a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been. Wow, that we're at this point is amazing, to say the least. And to dispel some of those vicious social media rumors out there, yeah, your taxes did not go up because of the school project. This was all part of the capacity that we had. It was all part of debt service. We did not raise taxes to do the school. Your or your taxes, if your assessed value goes up, it's not because we raised any taxes for this. So just state it again. We did not raise taxes for this. It all came within our budget. And I think I want to commend the board again. This is what was not easy. It is not easy, and it will not be easy moving forward because we got a lot of big decisions still to make. We got to make decisions on the staffing at the new school, which buildings are going to be closed, and how that's going to be done. We do have some plans and ideas for the buildings that are impacted. Um, our footprint will look different, but our fiscal stability will be ensured and our operations fund will be protected, which also protects our education fund. As you heard Whitney speak, we historically transfer 12 to 14% from ed to op. We want to use as much in ed for teacher salaries. And the more we can protect operations, the more money we have in education fund to spend on teacher salaries. We have old facilities. And I will state this, and I've stated it before, but sometimes we have new members in the audience virtually that maybe have not heard. Whenever we did the feasibility study, we were going to spend $90+ million on old facilities just to bring them up to speed. And what we would have had at that point would have been 50, 60, 70, 90-year-old buildings that we spent the same amount of money on, and we still have 50, 60, 70, 90-year-old buildings. In this case, we're going to have a brand new building and will not have to expend those funds for roofs and plumbing and some of those things that you don't even see on the old buildings. There are not very many old 19 or 80, 90-year-old buildings that don't require a lot of upkeep out there, right? So school buildings are no different. So that's why this board, I commend you for taking the big step in improving our footprint and what it's going to look like for the future. So invite people to come out. You'll be able to see some renderings of the new building, what it looks like, be able to ask some questions. We'll give more guidance on the buildings that are going to be impacted. We said our goal was going to be in December, but we hope to be able to do that quicker. We're going to get some public input, some families involved. We were at a good conference the last few days about redistricting and get some input from families on some of the redistricting discussions. So be looking forward to hearing more about that, and we will need your input. So there'll be some of you will be asking, hey, let us know if you'd like to participate in that discussion, so you'll be able to have a voice in what the district boundaries look like here in the very, very near future. Did I miss anything, group, as a board for touching on that topic for old business?
Thank you, Mr. Boland. Our next item on the agenda will be action items.
Okay, we have an agreement here that adds Edward Jones as a financial option for teachers and staff in the MSD of Martinsville for the 403B plans. I recommend approval of adding Edward Jones.
Do I have a motion to approve the adoption agreement 403B plan?
I'll make a motion to approve the 403B plan to add Edward Jones.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The next one is the budget optimization proposal. I recommend approval.
Do I have a motion to approve the budget optimization proposal?
I have some questions on that.
Sure.
I'd like to know why we can't do this in-house, why it needs to go through Baker Tilly. Just had some questions, because we are spending quite a bit of money to do this.
Well, the expertise that they provide, number one, they do this. This is something that is outside of our realm or scope of expertise to be able to analyze. They have the footprint, they have the programming, they have these questions. They already have that housed. They do this. This is an area that if you ask me, hey, can you go do this? No, I can't. You know, I would not even try to venture down that path because it's too important for us for being able to make the budget sound and make good fiscal decisions. There's no way.
How long's it been in place with them?
With them, we've been using Baker Tilly for what, 3 years now.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And they're the ones that has helped us, for example, with our budget, with the premium and with the interest. And they have saved us a lot of money with their expertise, something that we didn't have in the normal budgetary process. And with the project, for example, they paid for themselves over and over. And I will say, anytime you deal in professional services, it's a lot of money, whether it's attorneys, financial advisors, architects, you go down the list. I got in the wrong business. I will say that that's the fact of life. But I can tell you that every district uses these people, the professionals on it, even the ones that have their own business office or they have a superintendent over, they all have an advisor they use, whether it's performance services or Baker Tilly. They all use them for a reason, because one thing you don't want to make a mistake on is money. Just like Whitney mentioned in her presentation, like the advertising to the DLGF. If you make a mistake advertising to the DLGF, they will not correct it for you. You can never make it up. You just live with that mistake. That's why they do these things by budgeting high and advertising revenue low, so that if there's a mistake or an area, you have it covered. Because there have been districts who didn't, they made the mistake, didn't have the protection, didn't have the professionals, and they didn't have any money. And then they got to go out and do some really jumping through some hoops to try to make themselves whole again. So I can just tell you, I would recommend an expert that's done this so that we are the best fiscally sound decision makers that we can be. That's what I would say. I understand what you're saying, but it is something that I think is totally necessary to be able to make good decisions.
And Mr. Boland, just to be clear, like we would be providing the information to
Yes.
Baker Tilly. I mean,
Yes, we
obviously for them
provide,
to-
they'll be asking us, well, the questions, they'll be crunching the data, they'll be looking at how we're utilizing all of our budgetary expenditures. They're going to be looking at, here's our assets, here's our expenditures, here's our revenue, here's some areas that you can be probably better and more efficient. We've not had one of those efficiency things. We've not had anything like that in the years I've been around. And I'm not talking about as a superintendent. I'm talking about even before that I've heard of. So we are in, just so the public knows, the SB1 is a big, big hit against public schools. And we are no different than anybody else. And I think it is prudent upon us to be able to make the best decisions, that we're not going to miss something. Because if we miss it right now with the tight restraints we're going to have some problems. And we don't want to be in that. I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be sitting in this chair and say, whoop, we missed that. Sorry, bad day.
So you definitely think the return on investment?
Oh,
is
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. The money that they will help us save will well pay for themselves. And that's how you have to look at it is, look, it's almost like buying insurance, I would rather know I just have a car taken in and had to buy the warranty, extended warranty. I don't know how many of you get those deals, older vehicle, extended warranty. Wow. Just Monday, $4,200 was going to be the charge. Oh, nope, you had bought the extended warranty. Costs us nothing, right? It's very similar to that. We are using their expertise, buying theirs. They guarantee what we're doing and that they stand behind their recommendations, and we will have good information. We'll have good recommendations, and we'll be able to make good decisions because this board's been doing that. That's how we were able to get a project for a new elementary school without raising tax dollars because we've been fiscally sound. And I think Baker Tilly, along with Whitney, has been a big reason that we were able to do all of those things. We've done a nice job. I was just at this conference and talked to a few superintendents. They still can't believe that we have been able to do what we are doing with the tax rate that we have. They don't have any idea how we do it. So that's a compliment to this board and previous boards for making some fiscal decisions, being frugal, and staying within our budget. So I'm very proud of that. So I do think, Mr. Hankins, I think it's a great question because it's a lot of money anytime you talk about something like this. But that's professional costs. It's like our attorney, professional costs. We wish we didn't have to do it, but I think it pays off in the long run.
Okay.
But I appreciate that question.
Is there any more discussion?
I'll make a motion, we, pass the budget optimization proposal.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes.
Okay, items 3 through 17 are donations. As we have done, my goodness, the community is so generous. And just for the public to hear these, we like reading them and announcing their names and giving them public credit for their generous contributions. We could probably just pass and say, okay, all the donations, do you approve? Say yes, and then not read them. But our community deserves this because they help us and we want to read through that. So I'm going to go through and then we'll pass all in one like we normally do. Donation from Delta Theta Tau sorority to the MSD of Martinsville, the shoe closet, shoe closets. Then we have donation from Patricia McElroy to Smith Fine Arts, $1,000. Donation from North Shore Animal League to MHS Applied Skills, $500. Donation from Morgan County Pork Producers to MHS FFA for $2,400. Donation from Cowden Foundation to Bell Intermediate Academy staff, $2,500. Donation from Dan Cowden Foundation Incorporated to Bell Intermediate Academy, $2,500. Donation from Candy Kitchen to MHS Athletics, $250. Donation from Bourne, Oliver and Coffee to MHS Athletics, $500. The rest of them are going to be to MHS Athletics, so I'll just go down through them. Donation Don and Susie Lips, $500. Donation from Foxcliff Golf Course, $500. Donation from Super Sports, $500. Donation from Clear Creek for $500. Donation from Chapman Ortho for $1,000. Donation from Flow Source, $4,000. And donation from Shelter Insurance to MHS Athletics, $4,000. That's a lot of donations, very, very generous, and I recommend approval for accepting these donations.
Do I have a motion to accept the donations as presented?
I'll make a motion, Lou, to accept the donations as placed before us.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes. Courtney, do we have anyone signed up for? Having no one signed up for public comments, I will hand it over to Superintendent Bolin for
Wow,
superintendent comments.
This will be quick, believe it or not. Jackie, you watching the clock? Are you watching the WNBA playoffs
I've got
tonight?
it taped.
Okay, there we go.
You're good.
MHS homecoming this weekend. Tomorrow night, we're hosting Franklin. Hope you can come out and support the football team and watch the band and the dance group. They put on quite a show, all of them out there. So we hope everybody has a good, safe homecoming and an enjoyable time. Unified track meet that's going to take place. This event will be October 9th, which is that Thursday that we'll be approving the board, the budget. That's October 9th. That's a great event. That's during the day. You are welcome to attend. Public can come out and watch that. It'll put a smile on your face to watch pure sport in action. That's a lot of fun. Grandparents' nights are taking place at elementary schools. It's that fun time of year. It's that time where we're getting close to chilly. And I'm talking about chilly weather. I'm talking about chilly food because for me, it's always about the food. Look forward to that. Check your school newsletters and calendars for those dates. And then we have the Marching Artesians. They kicked off competition last week, placing 5th, and they compete this weekend at Greenwood. So we wish them well. So a full swing on activities and sports here this fall, and this is a fun time of year. So go Artesians.
Do we have any board comments?
I'd like to make a comment. I was really impressed. I went to see the auto shop last week. They're going to put a headlight in one of my old cars. It's great to see it up and running. The new instructor, the kids are really a lot of new equipment we've got. It really looks nice to see something like that achievement. And the students really enjoy it too.
That's a great point, Mr. Hankins, for the public out there that they can contact the school
Yeah.
and see about getting their vehicles in, and the kids they learn these things and they are eager to put it to practice. So if you have a vehicle you want to take out there, contact the high school.
Couple things, like Eric mentioned, we went to the state meeting earlier this week for the Iowa School Board Association's downtown Indianapolis, and it's just neat to see the best practices from across the state. Some things that others have found that worked well, and some things that didn't work well, and what they did to kind of address that. We saw quite a bit of different modules, and for 2 days I thought it was very beneficial, and I think it was something that I know a lot of us enjoy when we go down to and aren't able to attend. Delegate assembly was positive, as well as just as far as legislation and different things that we're working towards as a state. It was just a good time, so I was glad to go to that. A couple other things I had, and as we see more public interaction, hopefully we continue to see that. I know Daniel Pons is here often, and I just appreciate anyone standing up and sharing what you see or sharing your beliefs in different parts of the school or different parts of the community. And I think it's important to have that feedback. So hopefully folks continue to do that. I know it's challenging times in our culture and society today, but I think it's now more than ever, as I think folks need to be very much more sharing, certain things with board members or the school itself, or what issues you have. I think we don't know what we don't know until we have an opportunity to have those conversations, and I hope that never stops. I think that's always going to be the power of what we do, and a power in a lot of what we believe. I know a lot of folks up here go to similar churches, different masses, or different things that are out there, and I think the faith and what we do it makes us who we are and what we're trying to accomplish. I think I can't leave that outside this door. I believe we are strong people, and we have to bring that strength into what we're trying to accomplish here. And when we look at the children, we're a lost society in some areas, and it's very concerning. So whatever we can do to keep building that, I don't think it can't stop. I mean, we have to find better ways to do it. Uh, I just, that absence, you feel it. I graduated in 1990, and I see it today going, we're lost, and we have to find better ways to do this, and hopefully we can continue to do that. And it's police officers, it's general, just civil human beings is just not what it used to be. So hopefully we can be a part of that and get these kids ready for the reality and be good stewards of that. I know the school does a great job with religious education. I know they do a great job with supporting different groups inside of the school to help these kids find their way in a positive way and build that future for them. I mean, that's the most important thing we have. I want them to learn reading, math, all the fun stuff, but I want them to be good people and good society members that do the right thing no matter who's watching every single day. And it's been a rough couple weeks on different things. When you look at the news in Pennsylvania recently, this last couple of days, it's gut wrenching. So we have to find that strength and continue to push that direction. I don't know what else to say. Maybe that's not a thing for a board member to say, but it's at that time. If I frustrate some people, I'm up for election next year. I mean, I'm gonna do the right thing no matter what it is or who's watching. So hopefully that makes sense. I appreciate the support from the staff and everyone inside the school district. I know there's a lot of internal struggles you're battling with and trying to be that beacon for these children. Sometimes you are the only strength out there, and you've heard that from a couple people speak this last week down in downtown Indianapolis of just what they meant, the teachers met, or the direction came from, or someone stood up for somebody at one time in their career when they didn't have nobody else. I think it's important to realize that we have to be that light in many cases. So definitely appreciate the time, and everyone up here. I know there's a ton of time put into this. That little adjustment to 10% of the $45,000 is, I know some people may think we make $2,000 a year today. It's going to be $4,500. If you think that's a lot, then we'll have a conversation. My phone number is posted. We can call anytime. So Definitely don't want to think we're trying to do anything that's not straightforward and upfront to the group, so.
And we would do it for free.
And I would do it
And
for
we would
free.
do it for free.
Yeah. It's not, we don't do it for the money, I promise
right.
you that, or the glamour or glitz. But it is for the kids and it is to support the community and do the right things. I think that's the most important thing we'll always be judged at is at the end of our time, what did we do to make a difference? And I think hopefully that's something that I know all of us are driving for. I can absolutely believe that. So thanks for the time.
No, absolutely. And just to piggyback on that, I just was going to say too, appreciate you guys being here in person or virtual. It is great to have community engagement, community participation, parental participation. We do encourage that. Um, you know, as Dan said, our numbers are published, our emails are out there published. If you email me about an issue, I will tell you the first thing I'm probably going to ask you is, did you follow the chain of command? I'm a big rule follower like that, but we also encourage you to reach out if you have issues. So appreciate all you guys being here tonight, and thanks for coming out.
All right. Again, thank you, everyone. We appreciate you guys and your support. At this time, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all. Thank you.